Welcome back, everyone, to Grand Tactician, the Civil War, and we are ready to continue on with this campaign. If you have not seen the campaign up to this point, there is a link in the description that will take you back to the beginning. And also, if you're new to the channel or the series, I would ask you consider hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications if you haven't done so already. Funding 1 policy has been selected, and we are ready now to go back to our policies where we need to start investing in industry so we can get some better weapons. Our weapons are sorely lacking, especially artillery. We just don't have anything really good available to us. Let's look and see if we've got any cavalry weapons that are available for some of these cav units. We have Springfield musketoons, which are really about it. There's 1 unit's worth of Smith carbines. We'll go ahead and select those, but really there's not much else there. And as far as guns go, it looks like we did just get in some 12-pounder Napoleons, but I'm going to wait because I have some other units I'd like to get those into first rather than the Army of the Kanawha. Now, this is interesting. We have Grant's army moving his way up toward the Army of Tennessee in central Kentucky, and it looks like I just saw the Missouri State Guard go flying by on the railroad, which means that they are no longer in the west. So that leaves Harney free to move about if he can come up with the supplies to do so. And right now he's got a little bit in terms of supply, but not much. But we could at least move on this other supply depot here in Rolla and capture that from the Confederates. And then eventually we're going to make our way into northern Arkansas. Okay, a couple things have happened. The Department of the West is preparing a siege of Fort Hildebrand. I didn't even realize there was a fort over there. So yeah, it looks like he did in fact place a fort near the Rolla depot. And now we actually get to look at the siege, which is something new that we did not have access to before, similar to what happened with the naval fighting. So you can see the available units that we have in the Department of the West. These are each of the brigades. It's basically the Sexy Division and then the Missouri Brigade and Evergreen Brigade of the 2nd Division. No perk effects available. We can auto-resolve the assault. There's only 47 men holding the fort. So feeling pretty confident in this one that it should go our way and go our way fairly quickly. Looking at the situation in Kentucky, I noticed we do have the Florida State Militia and the Missouri State Guard over there, about 15,000 men. I don't know where the Army of the Tennessee has gone to. They may be over here, though. But we're still going to make our way in that direction. We're going to grab this base of supply here. We have McClellan up here. We could move down to assist, but I really would rather keep McClellan where he is. We got the Army of the Kanawha. As soon as we're able to get them in a better situation in terms of supply, which right now is really bad. In fact, we need to go ahead and build a supply depot here in Portsmouth. My great-grandparents were married in Portsmouth. My family came from eastern Kentucky. They first moved to Portsmouth, and then they made their way up to northeast Ohio from there. So most of my grandpa's siblings were born in Portsmouth. It's kind of their hometown. But once we get supply base, we can move the Army of the Kanawha. We're going to move over and take Charleston. And in the east, we did lose that battle with the Army of the Pennsylvania under Winfield Scott, but it looks like we do still hold Winchester. I've moved the Army of the Potomac out under Joseph Hooker. A little further, they are still supplied from Washington. It's not enough supply, though, and we're going to upgrade that depot to 3. And I think we're probably going to need to build another one out here to keep that supply base going as we move our way down. It was a challenge historically for the armies in Virginia, and the reason why they tended to go either straight down this way or up the peninsula is because they had the ability to keep the army supplied by river or by rail. And so they tried to keep as close to as possible to their supply line as it stretched further and further toward Richmond. Much bigger problem in the West doing that. It was one of the challenges for Grant's armies in the West was keeping his supplies going. All right, and like I said, with that in mind, as far as supplies go, we can get a 25% bonus to construction speed. That might be nice. But there's also one that involves supply. And I'm trying to remember exactly where that is. Okay, so flying column, movement speed 10%, and maximum supplies plus 50%. They level up by marching. That army's going to do a lot of marching, so we're going to go ahead and choose flying column 1 as our first perk. There is the army of the Tennessee. So he's got those men, these men, and these men. Even if they bring them all to bear on me, I'll have a slight disadvantage in numbers, but nothing real significant. Of course, the bigger issue for Grant's army is supplies are down to 37%. There's a glorious victory at Fort Hildebrand. And here we come now. We have a 3-to-1 advantage in manpower. He has more guns than us. Felix Zolikofer is going to be the general here. But the important thing that we have to keep in mind is our lack of supplies. So we'll be good for a short fight, but long term we're going to have trouble reinforcing those men with the needed food and weaponry. Okay, we have to be on the attack since we're the one that's moving into the enemy's territory. We're coming in from the southwest. Not a battlefield I really remember. This might be the first time fighting on this one, at least that I can recall. So we're going to have to go after some of these objectives. There's a ridge right here. They're actually both ridges, so I'm a little concerned about that. So we'll have to get our men going here. I'll get everything set up and then get them moving. Okay, since we haven't fought with this army before, I'm moving them into position right here for the time being until we figure out where we want to go next. It looks like we hit the end of the day. I do want to real quick just take a look at this army so we know what we've got. We've got Edward Baker, who was a friend of the Lincolns. In fact, the Lincolns named their son Eddie, Edward Baker Lincoln, after Edward Baker. And he's a division commander, 1st East Tennessee Infantry with Mississippi Rifles. And then the Louisville Legion with Enfields. We've got Robert Anderson here, who was in command historically at Fort Sumter. He's commanding the 2nd Division. They're disrupted at the moment. They've got 8,000 men. And back to the order of battle. Lincoln Loyalists under Bull Nelson with Mississippi Rifles. We've got Theodore Runyon's Hurrying Hoosiers with Lawrence Rifles. And then Hans Heg and the Nordic Guards. They've only got reboard muskets, but it was the best thing we had available to us at the time. They're currently broken, and I'm not sure why, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Irvin McDowell moves from Army Command in the east to a Division Command under Grant in the west. And he has the Buckeye Sharpshooters. We will eventually get them weapons that fit with the name that they have, but right now there is nothing available. Maybe some Sharps rifles or something under Andrew Porter. And then Negley's 5th Michigan Volunteers. We've got our artillery, Burnham's battery 6-pounders. Ward's battery has 10-pounder Parrots. And Buchanan has 24-pounder howitzers. George Meade, division commander, the 5th Division. He's got the Black Hawk veterans under John Hatch. And the Ruhr Valley Brigade under Colonel George Sykes. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so we're going to move up once again, and I've got a really pretty widespread array here. We're sending Baker's division out on the extreme left. I'm guessing they're going to be somewhere up in here, though they certainly could be way back here. I'm guessing, though, that we're going to be finding them on Hunt's Ridge. I really don't want a frontal assault on a position of high ground, even though it's not a real substantial high ground. So we're going to kind of approach from multiple angles. Specifically, I have Meade's division. It's only 2 brigades moving around the flank. And we're going to send him with the artillery. Well, it turns out they are not, in fact, on Hunt's Ridge, which means they must be up here defending closer to Long Pass Ridge. So I'm going to grab this objective, and then we'll see where we're at. We may not be in a position where we need to be too super aggressive at that point. And then I'll probably at least build in my line right here along the railroad. Gives us at least a little bit of a natural defensive position. All right, and with this last division, Anderson's moving into place, you can see we've got a pretty nice battle line. I'm pretty happy with this. Right along the railroad there, and we know he's up here somewhere. I don't think we need to move too much. We do have almost identical morale. He's got an objective point advantage because he's been holding that one. Been holding both of them a little longer. This one's only worth 5. that one is worth 3. So eventually in the long run, it's going to go our way. So we can kind of afford to just sit tight. I'm going to send I can't send a single brigade. So I'm going to send Meade's division over here to grab this entry point. And maybe then that forces his hand a little more. I don't know. All right, we have reached day 3. We have an opportunity here. We could redeploy up toward where we think he probably is. And I think I will go ahead and get a little aggressive here. Remember, we've got about a 3-to-1 advantage in manpower. So he just doesn't have the men to hold if we decide to attack. So we can be a little aggressive here. Well, it turns out he wasn't defending either of the objective points, as we can now see. So we can sit on both of those and fight a defensive battle now, which is ideal. Though, again, outnumber him 3-to-1. Maybe I go after him. This is where I need my cavalry. I do have cavalry recruited for the army. We just don't have them yet. I don't know why these are showing up as... Oh, these are scouts, that's why. Or skirmishers. But yeah, we don't have our cavalry yet. If we did, this would be a perfect opportunity to send them out and figure out where he is and develop a battle plan. So it's not really an option here. So we'll have to start probing a little bit. Let's send Baker this way. We'll send McDowell kind of off in this direction. We'll bring Anderson back down here to the river line and Meade down this way. And we'll just have to start spreading out until we figure out where he is. Okay, well that didn't take long at all. We just spotted him. Looks like he's got a defensive line right here. So thankfully we didn't send our folks out too far, although it looks like McDowell could be pretty close to the line. And thankfully Grant's traveling with McDowell, so it'll be pretty quick for us to be able to slow McDowell's division down. Let's bring Anderson over here to the front, facing them. Let's get Meade up here in reserve. So it looks like it's going to be Baker and McDowell that are going to lead this attack. We'll wait till everybody's in position before we start giving attack orders. Okay, our artillery's in position. They're going to start opening up. We'll let them soften things up a little bit. We're going to wait until Meade is ready to be in position as a reserve. We're going to move these guys up a hair more, and then we're going to give them their attack orders. And then hope for the best. Okay, let's do this. Baker, attack. McDowell, attack. I don't know if they're quite close enough to do that yet, or if we'll need to move them in closer. Well, there goes Porter. Yeah, let's get Baker up closer. Let's move Meade up closer. We'll keep that reserve nice and close. And the first unit into the attack is the Buckeye Sharpshooters. Their first combat. Of course, it's everybody's first combat in this army. These men are still laying down. Maybe we get them to stand up. I had given a lay down order. I don't know why they're continuing to lay down. Because they were under fire from the artillery. Alright, Buckeye Sharpshooters, let's do this. Come on, Baker, you need to attack, buddy. That artillery right in front of him is going to be a problem if he doesn't assault them. In fact, maybe that's what we need to do, is give Baker assault orders. Because all he's really facing is artillery right now. The rest of the Confederates are moving. Let's go ahead and tell Anderson to attack. But he'll have to be up closer to be able to actually do that. Alright, Baker, what are we doing here, buddy? You have one job. It's assault those guns. Take them out before they screw up the Buckeye sharpshooters who are now falling back. Here goes Anderson. There we go. Drive those guns off. Ugh. Stop dropping your guys back like that. Jeez. Alright. Go after these guns now. These ones are pulling back. McDowell, get your boys up there to attack. Alright, here goes Anderson. Come on, guys, deal with these guns. Oh, McDowell, what are you doing? Two of his units. Oh, that's Megley's detachment. All he's really got up there are skirmishers right now. There goes Spears. 1st East Tennessee Infantry. They're charging the guns. They got driven back. But they successfully broke one of the batteries. The other one's pulling back, so they did their jobs. What's this? The Buckeye sharpshooters going in now. They're moving right up to the front lines. Louisville Legion. They're going to get in behind the Confederates. At the very least, they're going to be able to keep those guns from being able to fire. Got the Nordic Guards going right at the right flank of the Confederates, which is a dangerous place to be with those guns there. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and tell Anderson to assault. And then let's go ahead and send Meade up. And once we get him into position, we'll give him an attack order. Good thing we had the numbers on this one. Louisville Legion still pushing those guns back. Lincoln Loyalists are kind of winded here. I'm really worried about what's going to happen with the Nordic Guards. They are laying down to try and reduce the effectiveness of Steele's battalion, but that doesn't necessarily help solve the problem. What we need to do is attack those guns. Casualties are pretty even at the moment. Where's Meade? Alright, he's finally moving in. Yeah, I don't think... Yeah, Nordic Guards are not going to be able to withstand that artillery fire. You don't take a lot of casualties, but it'll panic you in a hurry and drive you off. Louisville Legion getting a little far out in front there. Alright, Meade. You have an attack order now. Come on, Anderson. You're supposed to be assaulting. Let's go. Buckeye sharpshooters right in the thick of things. They're still doing well. They're tired, though. Here comes the Ruhr Valley Brigade. Black Hawk veterans behind them in support. Can't wait to see the number of casualties the Buckeye sharpshooters have caused, because it's got to be significant. Probably more than anybody else. get Baker. He's only got one brigade still under his control, so I'm really sending a brigade order when I send the division order, but that's okay. I'm going to shoot this out for a while here. Come on, Baker, get him behind him. I gotta say, the blue and gold looks pretty sweet on the Louisville Legion. I like it. Yeah, he's got problems now. Being attacked on 3 sides. Anderson's gonna take the brunt of the casualties. These guys are tired. There we go. Buckeye sharpshooters. I'm really curious. I want to see what kind of casualties they've caused. What division are they in? I have no idea. It's got to be the 3rd Division, right? Yeah, look at that. They've inflicted 571 casualties. All told, we've inflicted 1,000, so half of them have been by the boys from Ohio, the Buckeye sharpshooters. Nice job, boys. Louisville Legion's going to charge in there. They do still have assault orders. And they're going to finish this battle. That's going to be the end of it. Nice first victory for Grant in central Kentucky. There goes Meade's division in there now. Ruhr Valley Brigade, Black Hawk veterans getting in on the action. Gonna inflict some nice casualties there at the end and make this a pretty one-sided battle in terms of casualties. But we've got 2 more much bigger Confederate armies to face in central Kentucky. So this will not be the last fight for Grant in this area. Let's see what the final numbers look like. $643 casualties, 2,400 for the enemy. Fully a third of his army. That was great. Okay, so I had a sighting of the Army of Tennessee up here as far north as Louisville. I'm not too convinced that's where they are, but I am going to go ahead and start moving McClellan's 15,000 men in this direction. And we'll start moving Grant's army as soon as we can get a little more of a supply base. I'm not real big on the fact that we don't have enough food right now. So let's go ahead and build another supply depot there. It's going to be a lot of this. It's going to be a lot of slow going into the south as we build enough supplies to be able to handle what we need. We got 6 guns now, or 16 guns and 6 ships on the Cairo squadron. So I may go ahead and start sending them as south as Memphis and just see what happens. Fleet orders, patrol, raid, blockade. Let's go on raid. I don't know how much that'll happen there. Department of the West, Harney has a perk. I think we're going to go with flying column for them as well because they're going to be doing a lot of moving. And I think let's look for a spot in Arkansas that we can move on, like right here. Let's see if we can grab Salem. They've got, what do they have here? An ironworks. That'd be big to be able to take that from the Confederacy. Okay, so the Army of Tennessee is in fact in southern Illinois, but it's going to be tough for him to sustain any kind of supply base there. Cut off from any kind of supplies. So I think we'll go down here, we'll grab this, and then we'll move McClellan up to Louisville. I may go ahead as well, and we've got recruits that are going to take a while to get into the Army of the Potomac here. This is the new Nordic Division. I think we may need to create another force that can operate to deal with situations like this. Alpheus Williams doesn't seem like the best commander in the world, but I don't know how many great options we have out there. We may have to look for promotion from within. Thomas Sherman may work for now. And then we're just going to recruit, again, I think some cavalry That's artillery. Let's get some cavalry units recruited, and then it'll recruit them automatically from the best places. Kentucky, Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, to get them there as quickly as possible. Where is this army? They're going to form over here in Evansville. All right, so McClellan actually ran into the Missouri State Guard, who are apparently in this region here. So again, it's going to be about a little better than 2-to-1 odds, but it is George McClellan. So not entirely convinced that he's going to be able to handle this army effectively, but we'll see. All right, so we do have a 3-to-1 advantage. I was looking at just the infantry numbers and not the cavalry as well. So McClellan, we're going to move him as quickly as possible to try and hit the Confederates, who are probably in this region here. It's going to be a tough one, though, because there's swamps. There's a major river right here. The Hoedown River. Awesome name. So this is going to be interesting. All right. Our army's getting into position in this open plain that you can see here. And it's going to be William Tecumseh Sherman who's going to lead the attack once we're into position. Let's take a look at what we have in this army. It's a small force. Buckeye Bandits are our only cavalry. They're fragmented and exhausted, which is not what you want to see in your units, but it seems to be kind of how everybody is right now. But Sherman's 3rd Division has the Spurgeon's Roughnecks and the West Virginia Brigade. Rousseau's 2nd Division has the Indiana Brigade, the 2nd Brigade, and the Smoky Mountain Brigade with their Lawrence rifles. So we don't have a lot of top quality units, and none of them have seen combat yet. And they're led by McClellan, so we shouldn't just go in thinking we're going to be fine. All right, the end of the day actually is really helpful since these guys have been fragmented and tired. This is going to give me a chance to move them up and get them into position right where we want them for this attack. I think we'll go ahead and attack with both divisions at the same time. Where? There they are. That's weird. So Hannibal Day's commanding the artillery. And then we've got the Buckeye Bandits here. We'll put them out on the flanks. All right, he's over there. Nice. Good for him. Well, we're not going to launch a frontal assault. I mean, that is a perfect defensive position for a small force to have because he can't cover everything. But we're definitely not going to go that way for sure. I think what we'll do is we'll park the artillery over here, protected by the Buckeye Bandits, and then we'll send our brigades around the flanks. So we'll get Rousseau lined up right there. We'll get Sherman over here. We'll put the Hoedown Bridges. Nice. We'll put the artillery right there, and we'll protect them with the cavalry here. Okay, our artillery has opened up on his position. We've got Rousseau's division ready to go. We've got Sherman's division almost ready to go. We're going to move them both into position and then give them their attack orders. And we'll see what the Confederates do in response to this. So we've got the 2nd Brigade, Smoky Mountain Brigade in the center with Lawrence rifles, and then the Indiana Brigade there. Looks like Sherman's brigades are ready to go. Okay. Rousseau. Attack. Sherman. Attack. Let's see what happens. Charles Stone's brigade engaging some skirmishers on the Confederate left. Sherman's got some skirmishers out as well, facing off against the artillery that's right there. Somebody was wounded. Fremont. He's the commander of the 1st Battery. John C. Fremont. He was the Republican nominee for president in 1856, their very first Republican nominee for president. The second one was Abraham Lincoln. Alright guys, let's get this attack moving. So Rousseau's moving in now. Looks like Sherman's starting to move up. Casualties are pretty much in his favor at the moment. About 3-1 in his favor. Need Rousseau to get another brigade up here. There he goes. Need to get more than one brigade firing on these flanks. We got to break the flanks and force the center to collapse. Really not sure what he's doing at the moment. West Virginia Brigade is not firing. Come on, Sherman. Got to get these guys on long range. They're going to fall back because they're facing that artillery and just getting lit up. I might have to tell Sherman to assault. Duval already broke. Darn it. What the heck? Alright, he finally got the Indiana Brigade in position to start firing on Clark's division. These division commanders are not coordinating this assault the way I wanted it to be done. In fact, I'm going to tell Sherman to assault because we got to take out those guns. I'm gonna move these batteries up, get them a little closer. Alright, Spurgeon's Roughnecks. This is all about you guys. He's launching the assault. Hopefully he takes out those guns before it gets broken. He did. No, he didn't. Ah! The State Guard artillery successfully drove off an entire division. Now, before you think that could never happen in real life, that kind of thing did happen. Fredericksburg's a perfect example. Pelham's gun, he had one gun and he held up an entire division. Rousseau's doing a little better over here on this side. His attack is actually pressing forward nicely. And if we win this battle, it will only be because of Rousseau and not because of Sherman. We've lost 900 men already. I may need to send the Buckeye Bandits forward. Get some more fire on these guys. So they have to face more than one side at a time. Alright, let's get them dismounted. Alright, that seems like we're going to be able to drive him off there. Oh, one of his brigades broke, though. Milroy and the Indiana Brigade. Alright, Buckeye Bandits, we need you to move forward. Get some fire on these guys. I can't even see Rousseau's headquarters because Sherman's in the way. Alright, I need Rousseau to launch an assault and try and finish this thing. who was wounded now. William Tecumseh Sherman, commander of the 3rd Division, wounded in action. Of course, he was wounded in his first major battle at Shiloh. Nothing that kept him out of the field, though. Now, that wasn't his first major battle. He was a brigade commander at Bull Run. What am I thinking? All right, we got a victory, though. Thanks to Lovell Rousseau, because Sherman's division sure as heck did not do us any favors. But we managed to get a very costly victory. Our casualties are going to be slightly higher than the enemy's, but the percentage much higher for him. In fact, if we were able to push it over 29%, we could actually get a major victory here. And I suppose that's still theoretically possible with Rousseau pushing his assault forward. And it's at 24%. I'm not sure we're going to get there. Then again, maybe we might. It's at 28%. We might, yep, we turned this into a major victory. Look at George McClellan with the major victory. Of course, he was outnumbering the enemy 3-1, so we shouldn't feel that great about it. We'll see what happens when he goes against a force more his size. Equal casualties on either side. But let's take a look real quick and just see who were the big performers on this one in terms of casualties inflicted. Buckeye Bandits did nice. They inflicted 412 casualties. 2nd Division, 2nd Brigade, 699 casualties inflicted. So a pretty good day for them too. Okay, so we're going to have to go ahead and replace Sherman as a division commander. Not a lot of great options out there right now. Maybe we look at Isaac Duval's a possibility. He's not a bad commander. So let's maybe do that. Let's throw him in there. So he gets promoted. I think everybody else is good. Now, John Fremont was wounded too, so we're going to have to replace him. We'd really like to get something besides 6-pounders, but we're starting to get a few weapons available. We got some 14-pounder Jameses, 12-pounder Napoleon, but I'd like to get those in the patron units first before anywhere else. We're going to wrap this episode up. I have a feeling we're going to be going mainly into winter quarters in the next episode. It's going to give us a chance to build up our army, build up our supply base, get the rest of our patron units recruited. And then in the spring of 62, we start making our push south. So let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below, and we will see you again soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.